Hopefully this video helps. I went ahead and did some explanations here for people. This video is entitled The Main Reasons Why I Reject the Fusion Model of the Stars. Number one is that birthing galaxies were never acknowledged when the fusion models were being invented. But birthing galaxies are where the location of fusion reactions occur. Number two, thermochemical, electrochemical, MHD processes are completely ignored in all stellar evolution and all planet formation literature. That's really, really bad. It's horrible that they ignore physics. Number three, fusion model can be destroyed with Occam's razor. That's a fun one. They never understood what an evolved star looks like, meaning they couldn't have possibly come to any reasonable conclusion concerning their evolution or inner workings. They just never knew what an evolved star looks like. And here I'll explain this to you. Number one, this is a diagram of a birthing galaxy. You have the central object, probably a quasar or really young pulsar, ejecting material at near luminal velocities, and in these clouds are where the fusion reactions are taking place, making heavier and heavier elements. These are where the velocities are required to fuse matter together. Since here a region where matter is ejected at velocities required for fusion reactions and the source of cosmic rays, not Big Bang nonsense. In essence, these are the Big Bangs, long drawn out ancient processes that take billions of years to transpire, not less than milliseconds. That's supposed to be a less than sign. According to mainstream literature, Big Bang just pow and it all came into being. That's ridiculous. To make hundreds of billions of stars, you need some process that takes many billions of years. It just doesn't happen within the blink of an eye. Those people are idiots. Number two, no talk of thermochemistry or the heat released in an evolving star as a byproduct of chemical reactions. No talk of electrochemical, whoa, I said that wrong. No talk of thermochemistry or the heat released in an evolving star as a byproduct of chemical reactions. Meaning, you have chemical reactions taking place, and guess what? Heat is produced. It's called exothermic reactions. You can study this stuff. It's basic chemistry, people. But they don't talk about chemistry inside of evolving stars. I don't know why. No talk of electrochemical reactions or chemical reactions caused by electrical current or electrical current causing chemical reactions. It goes vice versa, both ways. MHD or magnetohydrodynamics is completely ignored in all stellar evolution planet formation models especially. And Hans Alfvén was a Swedish physicist to stress the importance of MHD, but unfortunately a lot of mainstream astronomers and solar physicists, they didn't really want to pay attention to him. It's because they were unwise, because Hans Alfvén is the man. Number three, this is going to be fun. Fusion model can be destroyed with Occam's razor. Inside of establishment, you have a fusing core which radiates outwards, and then you have the sun radiating outwards again. So you have two times suns. You have two suns in the sun. In stellar metamorphosis, you have the sun radiating exactly where it is observed to be radiating, right on the surface. That's where the heat from the sun is coming from, on the surface, and that's where it's radiating from. This is common sense, people. And Occam's razor is just the simplest explanation. Is probably the more true one, I guess you could say. That's a different way of phrasing it. Don't you think this is a lot simpler than this? If we're to accept this one, who's to say it isn't one of those or one of those? It gets out of hand really quickly, okay? So instead of doing that and doing these math formulas where nobody really knows what they're doing, question mark, question mark, question mark, it's much safer just to go with what we observe instead of making things up willy-nilly to get Nobel Prizes. The light production of young hot stars is exactly where it is observed, on the surface. When they evolve is when the heat becomes more complex as the core begins forming, the iron-nickel core. when the core starts forming, obviously the outer layers start contracting. The outer layers start contracting, and the sun starts shrinking. It'll become a orange dwarf, and then a red dwarf, and then a brown dwarf as it loses mass. I'll review that in what's called the mass loss principle. All stars lose mass as they evolve and die. It's very simple. For 4, this is the most important one. They never knew what an old star looks like. One could be right underneath their feet, and they would never know it. Still don't. Most even still don't know it in the 21st century, won't, because it takes an unconditioned mind to understand this new worldview. Inside of the universities, they condition you into the fusion model, into the nebular hypothesis, into the Big Bang, and into the big social groupings where everybody thinks the same. Everybody has to be the little boxes, that way they can, they can fit inside of those organizations like good little boys and girls. So if you have somebody like my listeners who are very original and think for themselves, and you're shaped somewhat like a 7-pointed star, maybe even some people like a 9-pointed star, where exactly do you fit in this scheme? You don't fit. But that doesn't mean you're not a beautiful person and you have a beautiful mind. But unfortunately, this is what the university system wants. So good luck with these people. Today is February 20th, 2016.